Hello everyone and welcome back. It's the next day. Ran out of time in the day. We're doing garden projects. We've been working on tomatoes and now I'm going to work on a few peppers. It rained a lot last night with storms, so the ground is super wet, but we want to try to get some of these peppers in the ground. Now I'm putting all my sweet peppers in my tower, and I'm going to put my mild and hot peppers in my raised beds. So we're going to work on some of those raised peppers, on some of those hot peppers today. And the ground is so wet, I had to put my boots on, but it's hot, it's muggy, and there's not much wind blowing, so it's very warm today. So let's see how much we can get done in this heat. And I'm saying heat, but I'm talking probably 70 degrees, 75 maybe at most. But I need to get as much done as I can this weekend. I've been traveling for 2 weeks now and trying to get garden projects done when you're gone all week long and trying to get it all in on the weekend is a little difficult. So I have to take advantage of this time. I worked on tomatoes all day yesterday and I ended up with 85 tomatoes, I believe, in the ground. At this point, I'm still working on getting up to over 100, but that's where we are right now. So in this bed here, let's talk about peppers. In this bed here, I am putting in Dayton, something like that, Baggio, poblanos, serranos, jalapenos. What else is this? That's a poblano as well. I have a chocolate poblano as well as a regular poblano. Anaheim chili is going to go over here. And pepperoncini, I guess is how you say it. But they're going to go right here. This bed is a little more than 3 feet wide. So I'm going to have 3 plants going across. In the front here, the very front of this bed will be cucumbers. So I'm going to have to lower this cattle panel closer to the ground so it can start trellising the cucumbers up. Just behind the cucumbers are going to be peppers. And in the very front over there, I have cauliflower, which has been out here now probably about 3 or 4 weeks. I've lost track. But cauliflower is over there and it's looking very healthy. And that rain last night just turned everything this beautiful green. It looks like everything grew like 2 inches last night, which is always a good thing. So the garden was very happy to receive the rain. So let's just get right to it. Now, I weeded this bed weeks ago and I haven't touched it since. And I'm going to have to pull up a few weeds as I'm going along to make sure that we're still good to go. I don't have to dig in the ground or anything like that. I'm just going to dig a hole big enough to put the plants in, and that's it. My pepper plants, I'm going to plant them fairly close together. I usually do my plants about a foot apart using the square foot garden method, but I plant my peppers just a little closer. With all the other processes that I've been doing, sprinkle just a little fertilizer in there, the mycos, and I have mycos in this little cup. I put my bag down yesterday and it turned over and I spilled half the bag. So I've been working out of this little dish. I had to get up as much as I could so I could use it because mycos is not cheap. We're going to do jalapeno first. Your peppers, you should put them in the bed to the same level they're in their little seed container. So I'm not burying them too deep. So I got to be careful about that. I got a habit. I've been planting tomatoes, so I've been going super deep. And I don't need to do that with the peppers. And I will just fast forward this so you don't have to sit here while I'm getting these peppers in the ground. Took a minute. I need to get my name tags together because I didn't want to mess up. I have 2 different kinds of jalapeno peppers. I have what's called an early jalapeno. And, you know, it's your typical jalapeno. They get, I don't know, what is that? 3 or 4 inches long. And then I have a tam jalapeno, which is supposed to be a little bit larger. So I got both kind. And this is really the only spot I'm putting jalapenos this year. So I want to make sure I get plenty of those in this plot. And the roots of my peppers are beautiful. They're not root bound. They're just now starting to kind of wind around just a little bit. The root system's great. I did clip my peppers, so hopefully they'll give me a bushier plant. Uh-oh. Let me make sure I put my name tags in. Don't want to mess that up. They'll give me a bushier plant, and I won't have to worry about staking it so much. As I was installing the peppers, I wanted to make sure that I had some of every variety, so I was taking my time to go through to make sure that I had a plan for each of the peppers. I also ran out of name tags, so it was important that I make more name tags because I will forget and mess things up, and I wanted to make sure I got this right. I have a couple more to plant, and that will be all of my mild hot peppers. I have 3 what I call super hot that I'm going to use for hot sauce, and I'm going to plant those 3 in a separate location just so I can remember what's mild and what's super hot. So let's plant these last 2 in this bed here, and we'll move on to the next bed. So I'm rounding the edge of this bed, and I have some onion that overwintered, and I was hoping that I could get them to actually bulb up, but it looks like it's getting ready to go to seed, so I'm probably going to pull that out. So here's where it's getting ready to flower and go to seed right here, this onion. So I'll probably pull it out. I'll give it another maybe week, see how it does, and then I'll probably pull it out. These other 2, actually, it's going to seed as well. I can see where that seed pod is starting to form. I'm probably going to have to pull these out, but I could use the tops as greens as well as onions, so I can dehydrate those and use them. I can use them as fresh eating as well. But I'll give them one more week, and then we will see what we're going to do with those. So I'm going to plant around them for now, just so I can continue to plant this out, this section out. And it looks like I still have room on the end here to plant something. So I'll use this space for flowers. I'm not going to leave any space in my bed without anything in it. And I do want flowers in my bed, especially since I'm going to have cucumbers back here. Cucumbers need a pollinator. They really need a pollinator really, really bad. Because if you don't have a pollinator, you won't have fruit. The male and female is not on the same head or the same flower. So there are 2 different heads when it comes to cucumbers. So if there's not an insect, or if you don't self-pollinate from the male to the female, you won't have fruit. They'll just shrivel up and they'll die. So I definitely need pollinators in this space. So I'm going to be adding flowers all around this bed to ensure I bring in those good pollinators. So we're going to leave this little space open here. But we are finished planting peppers in this bed. Let's go to another bed and work on peppers. All right, in this bed here, I am going to have a mixture of super hot peppers down on this end and additional sweet peppers in this bed. Typically, I've found that plants on this end of my garden don't get as full and healthy as the plants on that end of my garden. So I'm putting plants, I really don't, I'm not expecting a large harvest. So for example, in the back here, I have leeks. If I don't get leeks, that's okay. I can live with that. I have cherry tomatoes here. And cherry tomatoes produce so many tomatoes that if each of the plants just barely struggles to get along, it's still probably too many cherry tomatoes for me. So that's why I have cherry tomatoes down here. what I call my favorite onions. The onions that I like most are not in this bed. I've planted onion in this bed that I've never had before. I'm expecting them to be a stronger type onion, and we'll just see how they do. The onion in this bed are Globo, which are supposed to be huge, great big old huge onion, and yellow of Parma. And again, I've never grown either one. So if they don't succeed, it's okay, because it's not the one I want. I need the Spanish sweet to be very prolific for me this year. I need them to be big so I can put tons and tons of them away, because I love that onion. And so on the back end of this bed, where I get the least amount of, I think, sun, I'm putting my super hot peppers, because I'm only going to make hot sauce with it. It's not for fresh eating. And no one in my family likes hot peppers but me. So, and my daughter, who comes by and visits. So the hot sauce would be for her and my brother. So I already have collard greens down here on this end. And right next to the collard greens, I'm going to add these super hot peppers. And that's the Datil, Baggio, and Serrano peppers. And I'm only planting one of each. Now, I did start more than one of each, and I've, continued to grow them. And I had a yard sale yesterday, or a garage sale yesterday, between peppers, tomatoes, and lettuce. I probably sold about maybe 200 plants in all, which I think is really good. I didn't have time to go through everything, so I only had a small number of plants out for people to buy from, and I sold probably 3/4 of the plants I had out and available for people to purchase. I just went to one of the box stores this morning, and I found out that it is true. The price of one 4-inch cup is $5, and I was saying 98 cents, but it's $5.78. I was off by 20 cents. And then the lettuce in a 4-inch pot, same price. For one, if you're lucky, there's 2 planted in the pot. So I sold my plants super cheap at the garage sale yesterday. Initially, I was thinking about doing $3 because I heard the plants were almost $6. But my plants were still fairly small. And don't get me wrong, they're strong. I've been fertilizing them at a minimum every couple of weeks. They're healthy. They've been hardened off for multiple weeks now. So I have healthy plants. But at the end of the day, it's not about, for me anyway, I've been very blessed. It's not about making a whole bunch of money on the plants of the garage sale, but how could I bless my neighbors who can't afford to pay $6 for one plant? And so stopping by the garage sale and picking up a plant for $2, and they can grow that in a pot on their balcony, in their backyard, on their patio. I think it gave them hope that they could do this too. So I sold mine for $2 a plant versus $6. And I also spent some time teaching them how to grow those peppers and those tomatoes, and that, you don't need a huge garden space like I have here. I showed them how you can do it from a pot. I showed them how you can grow a micro dwarf tomato in this teeny little pot. So I took that opportunity to not only bless my neighbors with some, what I consider reasonably priced vegetables, but I also took that time to teach them how to grow. And I think that was the best part of the day yesterday. Don't get me wrong, we had a great garage sale. A lot of people stopped by and picked up a lot of different things. And again, it wasn't about making money. It was about blessing my neighbors with something they couldn't afford to buy otherwise. It was a great day. I had already pulled what I wanted aside, though. Let me be clear. I got my vegetables. I had them all to the side. And then the ones I knew were extra, I put them out there. For the ones I didn't have a chance to go through, I kept everything to the side. It was a great day. And so now I'm actually planting the ones I had set aside. Oh my goodness, just to see some of my neighbors who didn't even know what a pepper plant or a tomato plant even looked like, and to be able to, share this knowledge with another generation who didn't know what a pepper plant even looked like, that didn't know that most of the tomato plants that they're buying in the grocery store were picked green and set somewhere, along the way to get to the grocery store, and it ripened on the way versus it ripening in a garden, they had no idea. So I took that as a moment to educate as well as sell off my extra plants. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Everybody wanted to know so much, and I'll be talking to one customer, and then another customer will walk up and join in the conversation so they could learn as well. There was also this belief that you can plant nothing whatsoever in your garden until after Mother's Day for Zone 6A. And that's not true. Your summer crops, you do want to wait until after the danger of frost has passed, unless you're going to cover them up and baby them along the way. But collard greens and kale and cauliflower and onion and potatoes and cabbage, all of that, broccoli, all of that, those are called cool weather crops. And peas, sweet peas, and lettuce, those are cool weather crops. You can put those in the ground before your last frost date. But they had no clue. They've always been told you can't do anything to Mother's Day. And so that lack of information kept people from growing their own lettuce, their own broccoli, their own cabbage. So I thought it was a great day. And some people looked at me sideways when I told them that these are cool weather crops. They're probably going to go Google it, which is fine too. You should educate yourself on your grow zone and what you can grow in your grow zone. So I still say it was a win-win, even if they didn't believe me, because I know they're going to go Google it, because I saw some of them pulling their phones out and checking. Knowing the difference in when you can plant your vegetables, what type vegetables, and the temperature, all of that, I think is important, because people can be growing leafy greens in March, late March, but in March. People can be growing collards before the last frost. Collard greens taste better once they've been hit with a frost. They're more tender, they're sweeter. So people just didn't know. We had a good time educating people yesterday. I'm already looking at this Baggio. This Baggio plant was a light green yesterday prior to the rain that came in last night. And now there's a good 1.5 inches of dark green, beautiful leaves. It's bushier. I'm like, how can your plant change so much in less than 24 hours? I tell you, it's amazing what nature can do for itself. Depending on where you live, that might not be true. You have, a lot of pollution or whatever, the rainwater could be harming to your plants. But typically, rainwater is the best water you can use for your gardens. Capturing water off of your drain spout, downspouts and things of that nature, it's amazing. And I think I read somewhere, I could be wrong, but I think I read somewhere that rainwater, don't quote me on this, and it may be completely a myth, so don't walk away when I tell you the saying, Kim's Kozy Korner said this is true. That's not what I'm saying. I think I heard somewhere, though, that rain during thunderstorms the rain's more charged or something. I don't know anything about the electrons and the protons and the neutrons that make up an atom, but it's more heavily charged. And you'll notice that your plants have a nice big grow period after a nice storm. And last night we had thunderstorms all night from, I think, like 10 o'clock last night till 9 o'clock this morning. Thunderstorms, rain, a little bit of lightning here or there. And I tell you, my plants do look better. If there's any truth to it, I don't know for sure, but my plants definitely do look better today than they did yesterday. Okay, some of the sweet peppers that I'm going to be putting in this space here include my Jimmy Nardello, which is a frying pepper. And I'm putting in paprika. Yes, we have to put one of my paprikas in here. I've never grown paprika before. Well, let's talk about the Jimmy Nardello first. The Jimmy Nardello is a frying pepper. It's a thinner wall pepper. It's horn-shaped pepper. Frying pepper, thin wall pepper, delicious pepper. Now let's talk about paprika. The paprika pepper, I'm sure everybody's bought paprika before. Smoked paprika, right? You go in the store and you pay $6 for this teeny little container of paprika. So when I saw the paprika pepper plant or pepper seeds, I said, I have to get those. So I have 4 paprika plants that, and I didn't give anybody any of those, just so you know, at the garage sale. I kept all 4. But I have 4 that I'm going to try to grow paprika peppers. And I'm going to, my goal is to dry them, turn them into a powder, and see if I can, make the paprika powder, the spice that I typically buy in the store. All right, let me keep moving down. What else could I put in here? Let's put in a King of the North, and my second paprika is going in here for sure. I have this random mixed bell pepper, and looking at the color of the leaves, I don't believe that it's going to be a red bell pepper. Let's put that in here as well. I take it back. We're going to do another Jimmy. I just want to make sure I have a good variety. That's the key, because this space grows very well. I still have 24 spots in my GreenStalk, plus all of the spots that I have over in my neighbor's garden. So we have room. Space is not a constraint. Let's go work on the towers. All right, I said I was going to come work on the towers. I worked on the towers, but I forgot to bring you with me. So let me show you what I did in the towers. So we worked on tomatoes in the raised beds. We've worked on peppers in the raised beds. And then I worked on tomatoes and peppers in the GreenStalk. So let me show you the final product of the peppers and tomatoes and green beans in the GreenStalks. So I completed 3 of the 4 GreenStalks that are in this space here. I worked on the tomatoes, which I put in here. And in here, they're all dwarf tomatoes, only dwarf tomatoes. So they get 3 to 4 foot tall, but there are some beefsteaks in there. There's some heirloom type tomatoes that taste like a brandy wine. They're all dwarf tomatoes. No cherry tomatoes. They're all going to be at least slicer size in this particular GreenStalk right here. In this GreenStalk beside it, I planted peppers, and these are all sweet peppers in here. On the very bottom row, I have horn-shaped sweet peppers. So the giant Marconi, or however you say that. I have a thunderbolt down there as well. And then I have bells in this next tier here. And then as you come up, it becomes a variety of different things. And in the very, very top, I have jalapenos, which are not hot, but they taste like jalapenos, as well as my shishitos. 24 pepper plants, 24 tomato plants. And then I came over to this next one. And in here I have beans. In the very bottom, I have, I think they're called purple teepee. And then in the second layer up, I have Gold Rush. So the ones in the very bottom are purple beans. When you cook them, they turn green though. So at the end of the day, there'll be a green bean. And the next layer up is a yellow bean. It's actually a yellow wax bean. It holds its color when it cooks. It's actually very firm when it cooks as well. And the reason why you see some transplants and some empty pockets, I had very poor germination. My beans are over a year old for both of those, so the germination wasn't great for the transplanting, so I transplanted what I had, and then I took some beans that I had been soaking. It would have been great if I had soaked them overnight, but they have been soaking for almost 10 hours, so they've soaked for a while, and I've put them in this GreenStalk here. So every other layer, so you got Gold Rush, you got the purple teepee, you have Gold Rush, and then you have purple teepee on the bottom. This is what I did last year, and it was absolutely gorgeous. That's it for weekend projects. We spent a lot of time on transplanting all of our tomatoes into the garden space in all areas. So I now have 109 tomato plants that have been planted throughout my garden and in my GreenStalks. But I'm not finished. We haven't made it over to my neighbors yet. For the peppers, I have hot peppers, I have mild peppers, I have medium heat peppers, and I have them in raised beds, and I have them in towers, and I haven't counted them, so I can't tell you how many I have, but I know it's close to the 40 or 50 mark so far. And we still haven't planted at my neighbor's yet. And I went ahead and transplanted some green beans. That's it. Busy, busy weekend. There's more to come. Join me. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on notifications so you know every time something new is coming down the pipe. I'll see you back here again real soon. Bye.